"I need to warm up tonight," said the Apache girl, and the rancher agreed. Best Wild West stories. The blizzard rolled across the desert like a white beast unleashed from the mountains. Snow wasn't supposed to fall this far south, not this thick, not this vicious. But that night, as the icy wind crashed against the old wooden walls of the Claiborne Ranch, it felt like the entire frontier had been swallowed by winter. Inside, Jacob Claiborne sat alone by the stove, rubbing his hands together and listening to the wind howl like a starving wolf. His ranch had once been alive with laughter, his wife, his little boy, but that was before fever took them both. Since then, Jacob lived like a ghost with skin, existing rather than living. Then came the knock. 3 slow, weak thuds on the door, so faint he almost mistook it for the groan of shifting boards. But then it came again, sharper, trembling. Jacob stood, grabbed his rifle out of habit, and pulled the door open. There she stood. A girl, Apache, barely 18, soaked in snow, shivering so violently her teeth couldn't form words. Her dark braids were half frozen, and her clothes, light and torn, clung to her like wet paper. Her lips trembled as she whispered, I need to warm up tonight." Jacob stared at her, stunned. 100 thoughts raced through his mind: danger, ambush, the fragile peace between settlers and Apache tribes, and the simple fact that she might collapse at any moment. But then he saw her eyes, desperate, exhausted, scared, but proud. She had fought hard to get here. He lowered the rifle. "Come in," he said gently. The girl stumbled inside, collapsing beside the stove. Jacob wrapped her in an old buffalo hide blanket. She tried to speak, but her voice cracked like a broken twig. He gave her water, then coffee, then silence until the shaking slowly eased. "My name is Alwyn," she said finally. "I walked far." Jacob nodded. "You look it." A faint smile touched her lips. The story she didn't want to tell. Hours passed. The storm only grew worse. Alwyn sat close to the stove, warming her hands, staring into the fire like it held memories she didn't want to revisit. Jacob didn't pry, yet. Finally, she spoke. "A group of men attacked our winter camp," she whispered. "My mother hid me. She told me to run." Her voice tightened. "I heard her scream, I couldn't go back." Jacob felt something break inside his chest. Loss was a language he knew too well. "They'll come this way," Alwyn said softly. "They think I saw their faces." Jacob's jaw tightened. Outlaws. Desperate ones. Men who didn't need reasons to kill. "You're safe here," he said. Alwyn shook her head. "No one is safe when men like them want blood." Jacob looked at the door, then at the girl wrapped in his buffalo hide. He had promised himself he would never get involved again. Never risk his life for anyone. The world had already taken too much from him. But something in Alwyn's eyes, fear mixed with courage, woke something he thought had died with his family. Danger finds them. Near dawn, as the storm calmed, hoofbeats echoed through the frozen stillness. 3 riders. Jacob blew out the lantern, motioned for Alwyn to hide behind the bed, and grabbed his rifle. The men dismounted, stomping the snow off their boots. Their leader, a tall man with a scar running across his cheek, knocked loudly and called out, "Morning, friend. We're looking for a runaway Apache girl. Dangerous little thing. Might have come this way." Jacob didn't answer. Scarface continued, "She attacked one of our men. Stole supplies. We just wanna bring her back where she belongs." Alwyn curled into herself behind the bed, shaking, not from cold, but from the lies she'd just heard. Jacob opened the door slowly, stepping outside and closing it behind him. "Ain't seen anyone," he said. Scarface grinned. "Mind if we take a look?" "Yes," Jacob replied firmly. Silence. Sharp, cold, stretching. Scarface rested his hand on his revolver. "You hidin' somethin', rancher?" Jacob's voice hardened. "I said no." The leader smirked. "Wrong answer." Then everything exploded into motion. Jacob ducked as a pistol flashed. He tackled Scarface off the porch while the other 2 men drew their guns. Bullets tore through the wooden railing. Jacob swung his rifle like a club, smashing it against Scarface's jaw. Inside the cabin, Alwyn grabbed Jacob's hunting bow hanging on the wall, a bow far too heavy for her, but she pulled the string with sheer will. One outlaw burst through the door. She released. The arrow struck deep into his shoulder, spinning him backward onto the snow. Jacob, bleeding from a cut across his forearm, wrestled with the second man, pinning him down. Scarface rose, aiming his pistol at Jacob's back. Alwyn screamed, "Jacob!" The rancher turned just as the leader pulled the trigger. The gun misfired. Jacob lunged, slamming Scarface into a post, knocking him out cold. The world fell silent except for heavy breathing. Jacob walked back into the cabin. Alwyn dropped the bow and ran to him, her eyes wide with fear. "Are you hurt?" she whispered. He shook his head. "You saved my life." She hesitated. Then she said softly, "You saved mine first." Healing by the fire. For the rest of the day, Jacob tended to the wounds, his and hers, and dragged the unconscious outlaws to a nearby marshal's post once the storm cleared. The lawman took them away, promising justice. That night, the fire glowed warm, casting soft amber light across the cabin. Alwyn sat beside Jacob, her hands wrapped around a mug of steaming tea. "You didn't have to help me," she said. Jacob looked at the flames. "Maybe not, but no one deserves to face the world alone." Her eyes glistened. "My tribe is gone. My home is ash. I don't know where to go." "Stay here," he said without thinking. "At least until the snows melt. After that, you can decide." Alwyn studied him, his tired eyes, the scars life had carved into him, the kindness he didn't know how to explain. "I would like that," she whispered. Months later, a new beginning. Winter thawed. The desert breathed again. Jacob found new meaning in teaching Alwyn how to ride, how to mend fences, how to coax stubborn cattle into their pens. She taught him too, Apache stories, songs, ways of reading the land. She filled the ranch with life again. And she realized something. The warmth she had sought that first night wasn't just from the fire. It was from the hope she thought she had lost forever. Before spring, she stood with Jacob at the ridge overlooking the valley. "When I came here," she said, "I thought I was dying." Jacob nodded. "And now?" Alwyn smiled softly. "Now I'm living." The message. The frontier had a way of breaking people. But sometimes, in the most unexpected places, it also brought them together, two souls scarred by loss, finding healing in shared moments, shared courage, and shared warmth. That night when she whispered, "I need to warm up," she meant more than she knew. And when Jacob opened the door, he saved more than a life. He saved himself.